Now, this is a story that I absolutely love, because a new social media campaign has been launched to try to stop people who are autistic feeling they have to suppress their needs and difficulties to hide the disorder.
Yeah, it's called Take the Mask Off, and it aims to spread positivity and combat mental health within the community in a series of blogs, vlogs and posts over the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, let's talk to Hannah Molesworth, who was diagnosed with autism at 23 and is behind this campaign, one of the people behind this campaign. It's really good to see you this morning.
Thank you.
Explain to us a little bit about what you're trying to achieve here, and especially because, as most people now know, the term autism is such a big umbrella. Why do you want to sort of embrace it in this way?
Well, I think we've been told that we're autistic and this is all the kind of problems that you have that goes with it. And I think it's time that we embraced ourselves, embrace the good bits with the bad, and it aims to just empower autistic people and let us own our own identity and just be ourselves without having to worry about, you know, what anyone's going to think about us, really.
So it's called Take the Mask Off, and that's because you've experienced, and many others with autism experience, this idea of masking, where you have to pretend to be someone you're not, or not have the kind of the issues that you may have. And what is that like?
It's like you're constantly on a camera. It is like you're acting on a stage and you're analysing every single little thing you're doing, every hand movement, eye contact, and you end up over-analysing your behaviour so much that you don't even focus on the conversation, and then that gets you in trouble as well because you're not actually doing what you're trying to do in the first place. So
you're trying to appear to be what we could describe as normal. There's no such thing as normal, is there? But is that the idea?
Yeah, we're trying to appear that we're not autistic. We're trying to hide things that we would do, little signs, trying not to be awkward. Another thing is autistic people often stim. It's quite a kind of stereotype that autistic people move their hands and flap their hands. So it would be kind of suppressing all the urges that you have to kind of be naturally you, so that you appear to be normal, like you said, normal.
Yeah, I'll tell you what...
exhausting,
yeah,
I mean,
and stressful, yeah. I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it depends on the situation. There's some situations where you have to mask to get through life, but some people are literally forced to do it even when they're at home.
You see, what struck me when in your first answer was you said, you know, embracing being autistic, the good and the bad. Now, people know I'm a type 1 diabetic, and I often talk about the good side of being diabetic. We label these conditions, don't we, as just being a very bad thing, a negative thing. It's interesting that you say there's, you know, there are some positives from being autistic then.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody's different, so I can only speak from my own point of view. But personally, I have a really, really good memory, and I don't think I would have that if it wasn't for being autistic. I also have a really keen eye for detail, so if somebody changes their appearance even very slightly, I'll be like, oh, you've got a new haircut, and people are like, oh, it's, you know, you make me feel good because you've noticed that about me. So I think that is, you know, a really good quality as well. A lot of other people have conditions like synesthesia, where they have colours and music. I don't know if you've heard about that kind of phenomenon, and that's related to autism. It's what it's thought to be. So that's a good positive as well, and often we have kind of incredible talents, obviously for a really kind of niche section.
With maths and
absolutely.
numbers. Yeah, absolutely. No,
it's quite nice that this campaign is, and because it's going over 6 weeks, so there's a lot of scope to it and a lot of range to it, that it's about being, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like it's a case of turning around to people and saying, wherever you are on the spectrum, be proud of who you are and be proud of your condition.
Absolutely, that's completely the aim. And I do understand that I have some privilege that I'm able to be myself, and that there are going to be some people that are not able to for whatever reason. But it is about kind of owning your own identity and taking back your, you know, the label and being who you want to be as much as you possibly can whilst being safe.
Yeah. Can I just say, we said you were diagnosed at 23. All of this, even for people who aren't autistic, it's about raising awareness as well. I mean, it seems shocking that to be diagnosed as an adult to be diagnosed so late,
So
when
late.
obviously issues as a child have not been addressed?
Well, I think this is the reason why me and Kieran, who's my kind of autistic partner in this campaign, because he was also diagnosed late, and both of us masked as children and then kind of into our teenage, adolescent years, and he was even diagnosed later than me. So I think masking has a lot to do with kind of hindering diagnosis, because they speak to the schools and the schools are like, oh, they're fine. And, you know, they're not when they get home, and it leads to parents being kind of labelled as worriers or, you know, overreacting and things like that as well. So I think that's also important to remember, that masking can actually hinder a diagnosis, because you end up looking like you're not autistic. You end up being too good at it.
Yeah.
What do you hope for people who are normal, who maybe don't have autism? Do you hope that we end up with more sympathy, or, you know, that the awareness grows within society, so, you know, people can be themselves genuinely?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think I kind of want sympathy, because, like I said, I don't think it's like necessarily a bad thing.
No, but more, maybe sympathetic is the wrong word, but just an understanding.
Yes.
So you don't feel like you have to put on an act.
Absolutely.
Or other people with autism.
And I mean, there's been situations kind of in America as well, where people have been shot or, you know, approached by the police because they've been acting in an autistic way. There was a autistic man who had a toy truck in his hand, and he was kind of playing with it, and the police thought it was a gun and shot his carer. So that's the kind of thing that kind of really needs to be addressed, because you can't be, you know, approached by the police and possibly put in danger because of a condition like this.
Well, do you know what the most important thing, I'd say, for whatever condition you're talking about, and, you know, my area and your area, the most important thing is to be a positive role model, and you are being exactly that. And it is a real pleasure to see you this morning, Hannah. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hashtag take the mask off. Get involved. I love it. I love this positivity. It's really important.